Today we're going to learn about an annuity. The term annuity has several different meanings. The more general meaning is a series of cash flows. The cash flows are constant, periodic, and have a finite end date. Any constant periodic cash flow can be called an annuity. If you pay $35 a month for your cell phone over 2 years, that's an annuity. If you invest $200 a month into your Roth IRA for the next 40 years, that is an annuity. If you pay $1,800 a month on your home loan for 15 years, that's an annuity. There's also an investment tool sold by insurance companies called an annuity. It gets its name because when you're ready to draw the money out of the investment, it's returned to you as an annuity, a series of constant payments, a series of cash flows with a finite end date. There are two types of annuities. There are two types of annuities. The difference between the two is the timing of the cash flow. With an ordinary annuity, the cash flow happens on the last day of the month. If the cash flow happens at the beginning of the month, you've got an annuity due.
We're going to use the concept of an annuity to create an investment calculator. Let's say, for example, that we planned on investing $200 a month every year for the next 40 years in a mutual fund. I've already set up the spreadsheet. Feel free to hit pause and fill in the spreadsheet. Anytime we need to do any math, it's always best to set up Excel to take care of that for us. So we're going to need to convert our interest rate to a monthly interest rate and calculate the total number of months. So in cell B4, we'll type an equal sign. That lets Excel know that we're going to enter a formula of some type. We're going to click on our annual interest rate of 8%, which is in cell B2. We type a slash to divide, and then we divide by 12 and press enter. In the next cell, B5, we type an equal sign again, click on the number of years, 40, an asterisk to multiply, and 12, and press enter. In order to calculate the future value, the amount that will accumulate in the retirement account over the next 40 years, we use the FV function in Microsoft Excel. So we're going to move to cell B7 and type an equal sign and FV, followed by an open parentheses. Then it's just a matter of following the prompts in Microsoft Excel. First, Excel is asking for the rate. This is not the annual interest rate, so we select the monthly rate instead, and we type a comma. Next, we enter the number of periods. Simply click on the 480 and enter a comma. Finally, we enter the payment, which is the $200 negative cash flow that we generate from investing in this mutual fund. So we type a negative sign and click on the 200. It's important to remember this is $200 that's going out of your monthly budget. That's why you have to enter a negative number. This formula has two optional arguments. The first is PV. We use this argument if we have a large lump sum to add to the investment up front, or if we have some existing funds already in our retirement accounts. The default is 0, so if we don't have that upfront lump sum, we can ignore this next argument. The second optional argument is used to set the type of annuity. The default is 0, which calculates a regular annuity. If we wanted to calculate an annuity due, we would type a 1 in that argument. In this case, we're just using the default, so there's no need to enter these last two arguments. All we have to do is type our closing parentheses and press enter. And we get our result. So we see that if we invest $200 a month for 40 years at 8% interest rate, we're going to have just shy of $700,000 in this account. That sounds like a lot of cash, but how much is it really? Let's imagine we treated this $700,000 like an annuity, and we drew the money out of our retirement account by a fixed amount over 20 years. We can use the payment function, the PMT function, to find out what our monthly income would be. So we'll enter 20 years and then move to cell B10 and enter the payment function. So we type an equal sign and PMT and then an open parentheses. Now, this is intended to calculate a loan payment, but it can also calculate the payment coming out of an annuity. When you remember that a loan is just a type of annuity, it's a fixed cash flow. So we start off with a rate. We're going to use the same monthly interest rate that we used before, the 0.67%, which is 1/12 of our 8%. We'll type a comma and enter the number of periods. This is going to be different. This is going to be the 20 years between when we quit working and retire and we quit retiring and do something else. We have to convert that 20 to months though. So we're going to type an asterisk and multiply by 12 so that we'll have 20 years, 12 months per year. And then we type a comma and we enter the present value. So the present value is the $700,000 sitting in our retirement account. So we type a negative sign again because this is a cash flow argument, and we click on the $698,000 future value of our investment, and we close the parentheses, and we learn that we're just going to have almost $6,000 up in monthly income every single month for 20 years in retirement, which doesn't sound all that bad. But we have to remember that inflation is going to eat that away, and $5,800 might not be enough. So let's do kind of a what if. Let's ask the question, what if instead we were to work for 45 years? If we were to work 5 years longer. So we're going to change our 40 years to 45. And if we're going to work 5 years longer, that means we're going to retire 5 years later, and so we'll spend 5 less years in retirement. So we'll change our retirement years to 15. And we see that that gives us a $10,000 a month of monthly retirement income, an extra roughly $4,000. So that should give you something to think about. If you work longer and save longer, you will have more money to spend at retirement. And if your retirement period, the time period between when you retire and when you move on to the next stage, is shorter, you'll have more money to spend every single month. So that is how we use the annuity concept to create a retirement calculator and understand how our retirement income will work. As always, there are many other ways to arrive at the same result. If you know of an alternative way, please post in the comments. I'm excited to learn about how other people use Microsoft Excel. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe.